Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the story by our military veterans. Get yourself ready. It's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast is giving a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we're going to have a My Veteran Story, and we got Marine veteran Johnny Haggerty on the program with us today, and I'm excited to have him here. But before we get into that, if you want to help this program out and help us get the veteran voices out, you can become a patron. You can go to our website, click on the patron link. That's a monthly donation. Or you can do a one-time donation. There is a place to be able to click to do a one-time donation. Any donations is appreciated. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, email me at thelostartwithandrewcox@gmail.com. Again, that's thelostartwithandrewcox@gmail.com. And then we do have merchandise. So if you want to buy some merchandise, you're more than welcome to do that. Maybe help spread the word with the podcast. We have t-shirts, we have hats, we have cups, we have all kinds of different things. But go to our website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. You can go on there and there's a link for merchandise as well. Anyways, with all of that being said, I want to welcome John. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. Hey, welcome. I'm excited to have you on here. I know you've been doing some exciting things lately, and you got some good stuff going on, which we're going to get to. But before we do that, let's just rewind. We'll go back to the beginning on you. So, like, where did you come from? Where did you grow up? How was that for you? And then we'll transition to what led you into the military service.
Well, I was raised back east in New Jersey. My real dad was killed when I was 18 months old, so my mom was forced to be a single parent. And in the city back there, she started judo classes to defend herself as a single parent. And at 5 years old, I began going to judo. Unfortunately, at the time, I was too young, but the instructor saw that I was mimicking the moves, so I started class. So that was a big help for me, and that'll come in later in the program as we progress into how martial arts played a good role for me in the military.
Right.
So my mom did a lot to take care. We had a big family. So the loss of a dad for me, he was 22 years old. I was 18 months old, was something that I had to carry through, which I still carry through to my life. So my mom, encouraged me a lot. She was supportive. I was picked on as a kid because I had the famous military style glasses.
Yeah.
That were thick. So kids tend to pick on me, and I went to Catholic school. But thank God that my mom didn't have a lot of money, because otherwise I would have had the tie you had to tie around. Instead, I had a clip-on tie, which was a good thing for me, because the guys used to grab that tie thinking they were going to get me, and it would come off and I was able to run. So as a kid, I was bullied. And I didn't fight back because my mom was really against violence. We used to sit and watch and wait when my Uncle John was in Vietnam, and other family members, and watch when the POWs came home. I remember watching the TV and waiting for people to come home, and some of them never came home.
Yeah.
And then I would watch the news and see that. When my Uncle John came home, he was a little bit of a mess. So I learned a lot about PTSD, and back then they called it shell shock.
Right.
And as a child, our family was confused because we never seen anything like that. We were worried about our uncle. But as he grew through the stages, he was able to talk to us as we aged and stuff, and explain to us exactly what went on over there. And so with that said, me and my other cousins, we're signing up now, buddy. That's going to be it. So I used to watch all the commercials for the Marine Corps. I used to set my alarm clock at midnight, because that's when the commercials started coming on. I would watch stuff, be all you can be, all that stuff, and run. And You know, it was just the thing, and the guy in the blues and the sword and stuff. It was like it was just there. And I even watched Gomer Pyle, even though that was a game. But anything to do with the Marine Corps, I was eating, sleeping, drinking it 24/7.
Right.
So I began working out at 9 years old. Didn't know how to work out, just pumping out weights for hours and hours, thinking I was going to get huge. Never happened. I just got cut up and stuff. And so until I learned that, and I'm still that way, high metabolism. So my mom remarried to a guy that was 82nd Airborne. He wasn't a very nice guy. I give him credit for his bad conduct, his violence in the family, abusing my mom until I got up to an age where I could jump in and took a beating for her. So I said, you know what? And he was a very, very, very huge dude, man.
Yeah.
I'm only 5'7" now, so you can imagine what I was. I graduated high school, 108 pounds, went in the Marine Corps. So give you a little bit of idea how small I was. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start working out. So I opened up a comic book and I saw this Charles Atlas course, and I went and got that, isometrics. I was like, yeah, this is good, but this ain't getting it. So I told my mom, I want to go to martial arts and I want to get my black belt. So my mom would take me. I studied many different styles. It was from one class to the next class to the next class to the next class. And I was doing different styles, practicing, and I get my belt there. And people like, how could you do that? I said, what's going on in my house? This is a good focus to me. So I learned how to channel things in a manner where it was positive.
Right.
But I had an ulterior motive, was to protect my mom and my siblings from this very abusive man. And believe me, I worked out. So one day he wanted to start working out with me. Of course, anything you did with this guy was never good enough. So with that said, he never accepted me as part of the family, and it's just the way it is. But what he did was he prepped me for what I was to be presented with in life, whether it be in civilian life and the military. A lot of people that I know that join the service, some of them have no inclination or never been introduced or subject to any type of form of violence at all, and then they freeze. Fortunate enough for me, I was geared and seasoned. I saw blood, knives. I saw a lot of stuff. And the one thing good about my stepfather, if you got in a spiff, he was right there ready to fight. So all he wanted to do was fight and beat up people. So the abuse that he did to me and the beating, to me, it left me fearless. My skills got sharper. My brain got tougher. And I knew I was going to be a Marine. So I said, there's no better time now than to start preparing. And having other family members that were in the service, they said, keep in mind, it's all up here.
Right.
Your fitness is going to play a good role in saving your life with your skills, but these are going to make the decisions that are going to determine how you're going to get out of certain situations, along with leadership. So in junior high, I'll say 5th grade, I got beat up by the bully, and I kept getting beat up. And I would go home and my mom would say, what's wrong? And I said, I hopped over the fence. I never wanted to tell her. She was a good Catholic. She was Sicilian. So she was against violence completely. And I would never tell her. She'd come to school and give me new clothes. But I got beat up every day because I didn't want to fight back, because I was being obedient to my mom, which to me was very important to me, because she was my mom and I wanted her, to be proud of me. And so finally, thank God there is a God or somebody. One day in the front of our house, my mom was watching TV. She must have heard the commotion, and 3 brothers were like pushing me in a circle. First time I ever heard my mother curse in my entire life, man. And it like the light bulb went off, and I'm like, all of a sudden I heard, kick their effing ass, and wham, they all went down. If my mom was alive today, she would tell you, my son closed his eyes and swung. I said, whatever I did, it worked, Mom. The next day I went to school, because their brother was one of the bullies. His rival wanted to fight me. This is 5th grade. 5th grade. Oh, wow. So now I'm walking to school with my friend, my best friend, who tried to beat me up but couldn't catch me. We became friends. I'll tell you that story later. He's still my friend today, my very best friend. And so On the way to school, we get to the schoolyard and everybody's clapping, and then they open up. It's kind of like a Marine Corps ceremony, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, yeah. I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but he goes, you got to fight this guy. He's waiting on you. He's a little upset. You just beat his thing. So now you became his threat. I'm like, but I don't want to fight with him. He goes, you don't have to, but he's going to make you fight. So my best friend tells him, he says, I'm going to tell you something. That little guy is going to hurt you. And of course, oh, that little punk can't hurt me. And the kid was big. I had to be the smallest kid in school ever, man. Everywhere I was always small. I was like, how come everybody's bigger than me? But I was in shape. I had skills. And the one thing that people were unaware of, what was going on in my home. So that stays up here. So in my mind, you became my stepfather. Mm-hmm. You poor son of a bitch. You don't know.
Yeah.
So he came up there and I wound up kicking his butt. Now his rival, whose brother was a golden glove boxer or whatever, so he was being trained boxing. On the way home from school that day, he wants to pick me up in a fight. Lucky for him, there was a bicycle laying on the ground behind him. Lucky for me. I wound up pushing him on that bicycle and the pedal hit him back. That was the end of that fight. So in our area, you had grammar school that went up to 6th grade. Then you went to junior high, now 7th, 8th, and 9th, then high school, which made it more challenging because you're going to be mixed people from different areas into that school. Mm-hmm. And here comes, do it for Johnny syndrome. I'm getting picked on again because now everybody wants to test their thing and they all hear about, hey, he beat that dude up and that up. And my best friend, I'm telling you, leave him alone. I must have had more patience for violence or people pushing me because inside I knew what I was capable of and I knew what was going on in here. Now, if it wasn't for my very best friend, a lot of people probably been seriously hurt because this is how small I was. He would pick me up by the loop of my pants and my collar. You done yet? He'd turn around. I'm right back on him. So this happened a lot. My math teacher, and I'm going to say him because he is a remarkable Mr. Newmark. He was my math teacher. He was also the wrestling coach. And he goes, hey, man. And I sucked at math. I sucked in school. I hated school. My best friend was the brains. I was the brawn, you know. And so I slept in class. He goes, you know what? Why don't you join the wrestling team? I joined the wrestling team. And in 8th grade, even though I couldn't get the uniform, they gave it to me one time. I actually beat the 9th grader because you have to wrestle up for the uniform to make the cut.
Right.
I got the uniform, but I didn't wrestle. I think they did out of respect for him, which was cool because it gave me a learning experience, but it also showed me that I can excel, which was good for the service. Mm-hmm. So I learned that everything that I'm going to be the best at what I do, and I'm going to focus on what I'm going to be because the Marine Corps is only the few, the proud, and they want the best. You know? They don't want quantity, they want quality. And I'm thinking, I kept telling my friend, quality. I don't know if I got quality. He goes, you got this, and you got this, and you got this. That's all you're going to need, and your shape. And he goes, people don't realize that. So I went on a wrestling team, 9th grade as well. And of course, I went to high school. I got one fight. In high school. There, and that was it. And they think you're tough. Boom, laid him out in a heartbeat. Man, my buddy goes, yep. And I said, yep, I'm going to leave that man alone. So I wrestled. I made varsity, 108 pounds.
Very nice.
Okay, 3 years in a row. I did really good. I think I had 2 losses maybe, and they were at a higher rate, a higher weight class because at times my coach wanted to play games. But in any case, so I did fairly well. Took the first place gold medal that our school had in 10 years. So that was good for me. That was a good morale builder. Although I never paid attention to the newspapers and everybody's like, hey, are you that wrestler? I'm like, what wrestler? You're Johnny? Yeah. You made the paper. I delivered the paper. I never read it. That goes to show you how much I was interested in it. But I never knew that how much exposure I got from my neighborhood. Now people were looking, I'm like, why does everybody treat me different? You know? So after I learned, when I worked at a fruit stand, there was a girl there that would not give me the time of day. Then when she heard my name, she goes, you John Haggerty, the wrestler? I'm like, yeah. All of a sudden, her whole mind changed. Now she's my best buddy. She tells me a story about Mr. Newmark, my math teacher that was my junior high teacher, who now was at Colonial High School. in New
Okay.
Jersey. He was a coach there. They had a pepper rally. And so what he did was he was talking about me, saying that I had this guy and he went through all his challenges, and now he's wrestling varsity. That's the drift I got from her. But it was good to hear that he said something and remembered me, because that shows me that he really cared. So it was a good builder for me because of what was going on at home, because I didn't get that from my stepfather, but I got it from my mom. I always got all that affirmations from my mom. But it was interesting to see, like, wow, you get fame and people treat you differently. I'm still the same person. I'm still going to be whoever I am, wherever I'm at. I have a friend, and I think you probably spoke to him, Daniel. He'll tell you, he goes, one thing about Johnny, he is who he is in any environment, around any people. He doesn't change. He is real, and that's the truth. And he's told us to one person who was trying to say something, and he says, yeah, but the thing about Johnny, he is who he is, no matter where he is. So there's nothing phony about it, which was a good compliment from a guy that spent a lot of time in special ops. So, and he's a good guy. So, hey, during that time, I signed up for the Marine Corps, 180 days. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, man. Now I'm running 6 miles every day. I'm pumping weights. I'm doing my martial arts. I go to my Korean Taekwondo class. Now I'm thinking, I want to excel a little more, man. Now my head is getting big, and I'm like, oh, man, this is kick-ass. Hyen Soo Lee was like a 7th or 8th degree. Now he's like way up there, weighed about 90 pounds. And this guy can do a level kick about 8 feet in the air, man. So he's in his office one day, and I stay after class, and I'm doing spinning back kicks, and I'm looking at this picture of him on the wall jumping up, doing this flying kick. I'm like, what the hell? So here I go, do a flying kick to hit that back, level me right out of my back. Here comes Master Hyen Lucy out, standing around the corner, and goes, yep, I do this too one day. And he laughs, and he goes back in his office. He goes, you learn. So that taught me a lesson about you can exceed your limitations, but you're not unless you try. So go outside your box. Pain or no pain, it taught me a lesson. So during that 180 days, my mind now is prepped. Now I want to go. I want to get out and go in the Marine Corps. And I'm talking to my uncle, John, who recently passed away. He was bedridden 3 years, Vietnam vet. And he was like a good mentor, like realistic guy, told you. And I said, if you go in, these are the things you're going to have to be concerned about. You're going to go in. If you go certain places, you're going to come back with a different mindset. And he goes, but the one thing about you Marines, and I'm going to tell you, and this is from a Vietnam vet. He goes, when we got over there, we didn't really know what we were going into. Here you go to boot camp, here's a rifle, kill. And a lot of people got into some stuff. He said, Marines, when they were over there, those guys were just killers, man. They're Marines. He goes, but my friends that are Marines, I came out and I'm trying to adapt. And these guys are Marines 24/7, in or out. They don't stop being Marines. Their whole life revolves around their mentality level and their brotherhood. And he himself told me, he goes, I've seen special forces. I've seen SEALs, SOG guys, all these special ops in Vietnam. He goes, I have never, ever in my life seen the strongest brotherhood that Marines have. I see guys, we go to Vegas on these conventions or Washington to the wall, and I see Marines, hey, what's up? You know, nope, but you guys are hugging like you knew each other. I said, yeah, that's camaraderie teach us. He goes, that's one thing that'll never leave you. When you go into combat, he goes, this is the other side. You're going to have friends that you're going to stay close to, other ones that are going to distance themselves because they don't want to be reminded of that. So take that in consideration if you lose friends. And that was a lesson I had to learn from losing some friends. And yeah, that's a challenge. That's a challenge to give up a friendship and in the manner that they go. Whether if it's a training exercise or combat or even something happens in civilian, it's hard to let go when you've got that bond. But he was a biker, so he was in a club, so he had that brotherhood too. So now I'm waiting to go in the Marine Corps, and I'm just pumped up. Mom and Dad, my stepfather, as usual, fought all night. I was up all night. I went to school, I think, that day. I can't remember. I just remember coming to wrestling. I missed wrestling practice once in 5 years. One practice, the top wrestler. I went there, and my coach goes, you're off the team. You didn't show up for practice. I didn't say a word. I didn't say one word because that's how I was very quiet. Here, you hear me talking back then? It was here. All right, I'm a man. Here you go. I left. I'm not going to explain to him what's going on in my house. If he doesn't see the quality of my person, I owe him nothing. Till this day, that still hurts me. And I try to reach out to see if I can talk to him, but when it happens, it happens. Because I want to say, you know what, good SOB. You don't know what was going on in my home, and you didn't even bother to ask. You didn't care, but I'm not. You know what I mean? So I said, okay, cool. Now I'm really going to Marine Corps. I'm quitting school. I go to, well, you got to have your mom's signature. Oh, yeah. So I told my mom I'm quitting school. She goes, you're only a couple weeks away from graduating. I said, screw that. I'm going to the Corps. I don't have wrestling no more. What do I got to go to school? I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm done. I'm going to the Corps. I go there and tell Staff Sergeant Bodette. He goes, what? You quit school? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I can't get you in. Now I'm like, what do you mean you can't get me? I'm on a 180-day. I've been waiting for this day. He goes, you can't. You got to have a high school diploma. Okay. Now I got to go back to school and see if I can get back into school. They said, we'll let you back in school to get your diploma, but this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to day school, night school, and summer school. I'm like, it's a lot more school than I did in the whole time I was in school. Well, during the time I did it, I went to summer school. I told my mom, I said, I can't do this. This is BS. So she goes, all right, go take the GED. So I called Staff Sergeant Bodette. He goes, you get that? You're in. All right. And I had to get character references. So I got character references from all the coaches and stuff, which was awesome. And so anyway, I go get my GED. Now I'm psyched. Now I'm out with my friends. My girl, I'm 17. My friend is 19. And I got a hot rod. And on night before, I'm like, yeah, we're at a party. I got my girlfriend. I got my buddy in the back. We stopped at another one of my friend's house to relieve ourselves on his tree and the property. And it was my luck, Murphy's Law, police across the street. All of a sudden, they come. And it's funny because the officer was a highly decorated Vietnam vet, a Marine, who was always at my door. And when I was a kid, he said, Johnny, we want to go in and help, but our hands are tied. My stepfather would come out with shotguns and chase them away. You can't do that today. But he was a high up in the Teamsters. So he had a lot of pull. He was just one of those guys. If you cut him off, he followed you home, went to your house with a baseball bat, beat you, got a car and left. I'm like, you do that stuff today, you're gonna have a SWAT team at your house. So that's why it was so different. And Steve Sexton, who was the cop in uniform at the time, and then so anyway, they're following me. Now I have a Mopar. It was a 340 boarded out 60. It was totally unstreet legal. Got about 6 to 8 miles to the gallon. They had the SS Kragers on it, the big 50s, pistol grip shifter on it for. So we're cruising. So I'm looking in the mirror and going, oh, man, we're drinking. Oh, man, it's not going to be good. I'm supposed to be leaving for the Corps tomorrow. So they come behind me, no lights on and no headlights. And they're right on the tail. And I'm like, uh-oh. So I'm cruising. Then my buddy flips the story and he goes, you can't pull over. He goes, I got a quarter pound of marijuana on me. I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
You're going to go to jail, man. I'm not. I go, throw it out there. He goes, no. I said, dude, well, I'm not stopping. That's the kind of friend I am, okay? This is going to help you understand me during this story stuff. So that's where my loyalty comes. So now I'm like, son of a gun. Now the lights come on. I'm like, I'll blow this cop. I'm taking off, man, trying to get to the Garden State Parkway. I'm about short time to the Garden State Parkway. I make a turn to lose them. Ran out of gas.
Oh,
as fast as my car ran out of gas, I was ripped out my window. I don't know how he got me, but that Sexton had me by my ankles and kicking me in the groin. I mean, literally pounded on me. They took my girlfriend out. Good thing for my friend, just as I turned the corner, he threw that stuff out. So anyway, unknowns to them, the house that we died in front of was new people that just moved in. Welcome to the neighborhood. But he was a cop. He comes out. He goes, don't you think that kid had enough? He goes, you want some? That cop went down. He started beating the hell out of the other two cops.
Oh, wow.
I didn't find this out until I went to court. So anyway, I was beat to a pulp, man. I was beat to a pulp. Took me down to the police station. And we had in the police station had those old like swinging doors. So my mom's down there. And I'm sitting in a chair, I'm hanging, I'm like bleeding. I'm like, I'm like a guy that just got interrogated by the CIA, you know? And I'm all beat up and stuff, black eye, man, clothes tore up. And I'm 108 pounds. Okay. So the door opens and my mother sees it. Oh my God, Cecilia's mom. Whatever women carry in their pocketbook, gentlemen, be aware because it will knock you down. My mother took that pocketbook and started. We must have been about 8 police off of there, and Mom knocking them on the ground, and they're trying to get out of the way. Back then, it was. I guess it was okay to see a hysterical mom, but she knew most of them because she changed most of her diapers.
Right. Yeah.
So she bailed me out. I had to go to court, and I wore my wrestling jacket with my varsity letter, and the judge is asking the cop. Now I'm standing there next to these 2 huge cops, and I'm this little guy, and I got 108 pounds on here, and all this stuff. And the cop goes, he's asking the cops what happened, why they beat me up, and he asked the other cop, and the other cop goes, I was too busy chasing the other. And my mother goes, no, you weren't. You were beating them up too, man. So the judge goes to me, he goes, you want to tell me what happened? And I told him the truth. I said, hey, I was having a good time. I was out with my girl. We stopped my friends, word verbatim. And he goes, so what's your plans? I said, I'm supposed to go in the Marine Corps. I was signed up, ready to leave. Now I can't. And I said, this is probably going to ruin any chance I have for a future. So he must have saw the tears in my eyes. And my mother's like, this kid eats, sleeps, drinks, runs, everything is Marine Corps since I can remember. So, of course, moms have a big input with the judges, So he goes, the cop told me, yeah, I came out fighting. And I'm thinking, dude, if I did, you would have known you've been in a fight because I got some skills. I probably would have got hurt then. But I said, Your Honor, I didn't know it hit me. My car died, and that's how fast I was out the window on the ground before I knew anything was going on, man. And next thing I knew, I was at the police station. So he goes, well, I'm going to give you a fine. How are you going to pay it? I said, my mom's going to pay $250, and I'm going to pay her back. He goes, you better pay her back. I told the cops, he said, if I ever see you in my courtroom again, apparently he's had problems. He says, you guys are going to go to jail. So in any case, so now I have to go to Staff Sergeant Bodette. He was Staff Sergeant at the time. He goes, dude, I told him the story. He goes, are you lying to me? I'm telling you, this happened. He goes, there's no record of it. I said, well, I do know that the judge is retiring, so maybe they threw it at court. So he goes, are you sure this happened? Because I've been looking. So I'm thinking, and I want this to be a lesson to people out there that are going into service, any branch. If they don't know, don't tell them. If they're going to find out, they'll bring it to you. Then you can go into your story. But don't tell them anything they need to know because it can hurt you and ruin you, especially if you're trying to. And I learned this the hard way. So to young people, if they don't know, don't tell. So he's like, dude, man, now that you self-admit, I'm like, look, I want to be honest to the core. I don't want them to think that I'm a bullshit. I want them to know that I'm a quality person. And I'm straightforward. So I guess he understood. He goes, but I have to put this on your thing because I did these record checks and stuff based on that. I can't find anything, and he was a righteous, honest recruiter and wanted the best for it. And so, and he's also went up the ranks when North was there. You've probably seen shirts on the Discovery or the History Channel stuff. Yeah, good guy. And so he's like, dude, man, there's no record of it. I said, well, it happened, man. I wouldn't make this up. So in any case, so I had to get character references. So now I go through the process. In the time of the process, one of my friends called and said, hey, Johnny, you know that weed your friend threw out of the car? I'm like, yeah. He goes, my dad picked it up. His dad was cool. He would collect people's marijuana pipes and stuff. If you go to his house, he had like a whole cabinet up. He took it and did it. So my friend wouldn't get in trouble. But no longer my friend. I'll let you know that now, man. So he also went to the Marine Corps and he bumped into me later, which was like, he looked at my rank. I said, don't play now, buddy. Because I forget, but for the sake of the Marine Corps, it was a motor pool. Anyway, we'll let that slide for the moment. But I did find out how people will turn on you to save your tail, even though you're looking out for them. That was a hard lesson I had to learn, and I'm going through some things in my records now, which my attorneys haven't. This will probably come up later, and I say this because I want the young people that want to go in the military for whatever their reason is. Kids have, I want to go to college. I get that. Get to college. Get your thing. Whatever you do in any branch of the service, and I can tell you from experience in the Marine Corps, they have MCI courses, if that's what they call them now. Anything you do that's going to benefit your branch of the service is going to go in your record and help you move up the ranks. If you do anything that has anything to do with your MOS, it's going to enhance you. Leadership, things like that. Whatever it is you do that's going to benefit the government, you can be sure all eyes are on you because they're going to use you to their advantage, and it's going to be a lucrative plan for your achievement. So, but any case, so limit your associations, keep what you need to keep to yourself. Most guys, as you know, when you pick up rank, they try to segregate you for purposes for leadership. Back in the day, it was like, get your men to hate you, they'll do anything. I'm like, I grew up in a neighborhood like that. They didn't like you. You was fighting, man. Or worse. So I learned from my Uncle John, Vietnam vet, and some other people that Marines that were in our family. They said, listen, the best way to be a leader, if you see something that needs to be done, you do it. Because you're going to say, man, if he can do it, we can do it. Set by example. Get your men to understand you are not their boss. You may be a part of the leadership, but you are a team, and you only work together as a team. A team cannot work if it is not a team. It can't be bickering. Yeah. So there's a lot of good things for kids that are going in or young people for leadership, whether they go in for a short stint or a long stint or to be a lifer. When they come out, they're going to have more skills than a normal person. And they're going to be able to make precise decisions under the most extremely stressful situations that are, and I don't like to say this because I don't know how other people might feel, or life or death situations where your decision can cause lives. So you have to make these. But you're going to be a good asset when you come out. You're going to be a good asset to the military. So anyway, I did the 108 days. I get in. I go to boot camp. I got to tell you the story when Sergeant Bodette came to my house. It was about 2 in the morning. Knocks on the door. I'm ready, man. I'm sitting by that door. He rolls by the door. First time I heard my stepfather say anything remotely complimentary about me. I don't know if he was just trying to make a display. I'm the good dad, whatever, because he's what we call like a closet abuser. Everybody liked him out there, but then behind closed doors stuff, he was a miserable person. So, but he had his problems. He just didn't want to address it. So we're going to leave that part alone. But so my stepfather goes to Staff Sergeant, but he goes, yeah, man, I was an 82nd Airborne, and Johnny's a good kid. Staff Sergeant Bodette goes, yeah, you know what? There's only two things that fall out of the sky, bird shit and assholes. I thought it was going to be on. That is the first time I ever saw my stepfather and I was out the door. I go, I'm getting out of the way of this. Away we went. And the process began. So, yeah, and getting into boot camp.
Sorry, being on the East Coast, right, New Jersey, you went to Parris Island?
Parris Island, Swamp Marine, man. Yeah, fighting off alligators. Never had an opportunity to fight an alligator. I don't think I wanted to at that age. When I went to boot camp, I felt that I was in the best shape of my life because I worked out. Let me tell you something, young people. Work out twice as hard because when I went to boot camp, and I'm glad that I had that extra physical capability and I was trained, because some guys were total getting their ass whoops at just running a little bit. A lot of it, of course, is mental, but it was good. It was good. And I was like, wow, they pushed me and I excelled. I must have did more pull-ups and push-ups than any one person ever in the Marine Corps. I was in 3rd Battalion H Company, and I believe that building, because it was back off the parade deck where all the eyes are, the staff and all that stuff, and the brass was set back. So they got away with it. H Company and our company, the frog kind of throat guys, which I thought was pretty cool. And I was like, why do you guys talk like that, man? It's just their thing to keep up. But I guess I believe my building that I went to, the barracks, was the one that they knocked down that they were selling the stones at. That was, I think, pretty much one of the first barracks. I was like, wow, man, that's like a part of my life, man. Yeah. I sit in front of the bulldozer to stop. What do I do? But because when you got something that means something, that plays like a significant role in your life, like a person. You want to protect it. So boot camp was awesome at PI. I remember getting on at the AFI station. You know how you got to bend over and let them do their thing. This one guy, I don't know, he must have weighed about 340. He's a big boy, and he was not overweight. Wow. He was one solid dude, and he was from Jersey. And he goes, "You gonna stick something up my tail?" Hell no, man. Nobody's sticking nothing up my tail. Finger or nothing, man. Done career right there, man. Out, man. Nobody came in either. I thought there would be people rushing in. He just stood around. He goes, "Who's next?" And I'm looking at him. I'm like, coming next to me to stick their finger in me. Am I supposed to follow this guy's lead? So I make it through that horrible thing. Good God, man. So we get on the bus as we get off at the airport. And this is the funny part, because they tell you, the lady on goes, "Now, if I put that light on, we get, all hell's going to break loose. So I want you guys to keep your mouth shut, sleep, do what they want, and we're here, no ruckus on the bus." So young guys, we don't know what we're doing. We're like, okay, man. Quiet as a mouse, not a peep, not a fart, not a rapper, not everybody just sitting and looking at each other. Can we talk? What we do, you know? We get there, that woman turned on that light, and we're like, "Hey, woman, man, what are you doing?" We were quiet, man. Just a part of the game, man. They came in there and ran us out of that bus screaming and yelling. I'm like, you know what? It didn't bother me. Sound like my stepfather. So I had a little bit of humor. I go, "You might want to get your voice a little louder." "Who said that?" No. I said, "I did." "Oh, you got courage? Come here." I don't care. You see, I had that mentality. If you're going to push me, I'm going to push back. But if you want to see what I'm made of, Marine Corps, you're going to find out what I'm made of at the gate. It was a good thing. It was also probably a little bit of a bad thing for what I went through, but it was a good thing later on, as they told me. You know, my drill instructors weren't at the front, but when you got into the gate and stuff and you met your DI and stuff like that, they kind of took you aside later during graduation. "You know, I heard you did up the." So, "You think you got balls?" I'm like, my friends would say, "Big ones, big ones." He goes, "We're going to see how big you got now." Of course, you know, the yelling and screaming, stay on your footprints. Going there. Now, I had long hair as bad as I could keep it, regulation for wrestling for high school. And fast haircut I ever had. Like, wow, my hair going. I'll never forget feeling that hair going. Oh. And of course, now I've got these big glasses with the big Coke bottles, and they're not fitting my head no more. Now I look like a Q-tip on steroids with a big old pair of glasses. So we get in there, we go through getting your clothes and stuff, rushing around. And the first shower, wet up, soap up. Little thing you're done, you got soap all over, and it's freezing cold. It was January too, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me, man.
Sure, they had the hot water turned off too.
What hot water? They had hot water? Oh, they sure lied to me then, man. So I remember that pause, like, whoa, man. So yeah, it was good. It was good. It was the most. It was exciting, actually. It was a little intimidating at first because you didn't know what was around the next corner or what was going to happen from home and home, because they start your mental testing right at the gate. They keep screaming and yelling. We had quite a few people drop out like in the first couple of days, like instantly. Now, I'm glad you did that, because you ain't running while I'm fighting, dude. You better run now. It's basically how I saw it, you know. And I get it. I get it. So you get into your barracks, and you know, you learn how to make your bed in the hospital falls. You're constantly drilling. You're in your skivvies, your fingernails. You're singing a Marine Corps hymn in your sleep, and you get run in the garbage can, wake up. So before they do the selection, before they know what platoon you're going to, you got to sit down, and then everybody gets a number, and they call up, and you're like, oh shit, hope I get with my friend. And I feel sorry for the buddy program. No such thing. Never heard of it. You ain't being together, brother. Let me tell you, they're going to split your tail up, man. You're going one way, one's going the other. Guys, hey, we went on the buddy program. There ain't no buddy program here. You're going to learn the buddy program, but you're going to learn it over there. So, yeah, it was kind of like, wow. But all the guys you met on the bus and stuff, it kind of, you know, you knew that you're going to be with, you wanted to be with, because you got that little bit of bond. Then you get split up. I get this guy named Fells. called himself Silk because he was smooth. He was my bunkie. I had the top rack. He had the bottom back. So one day, as a joke, we're making a bed and stuff. He helps me with mine. He goes, ain't you going to help mine? I go, now who's smooth? He's a good guy. I love that guy. Boot camp was a good learning experience. I got the name Elton. So the drill instructors were going up and down and, giving names there. What do we got here? F and Elton John. And I started laughing. Man, that's funny as hell. I didn't know her remotely as Elton John. I don't play the piano and I'm not queer, man. He said, what'd you say? I said, you heard me. I speak perfectly good English. Oh, man, got hit in the solar plex. I'm like, oh, yeah. Now, my first thought is, do I hit this big guy? Sergeant Sherman was his name. He looked like a tank. And I'm like, should I hit this guy back? This is like the first time I'm hearing all this stuff. I'm like, nah. And I'm thinking if I do, my buddies are going to come in. Everybody's still pulling their skivvies out of their cracking their tail because they're cleaning their butt cheeks closed. Like, oh. So, of course, pull-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, push-ups. So from there on, I became Elton. That was Elton. I'm like, God, what the hell kind of name is that? Hey, Elton, can you bring me an M60? Hold on, how many keys do you want on that piano? So, yeah, boot camp was good. It taught me a lot about leadership. It also taught me, we had an incident where you do the crab walk, and something derogatory was said to a dark green Marine. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, hell no, we ain't having that shit here. And we all stepped up to the DI. And I think this is the first time he kind of said, holy Christ, I got 62 guys over here and they're already pissed off at me. And now, I guess he kicked them or something. It was just part of the training, but it was a good thing to see how fast we were all going to stick up for our brother. Yeah. And I said, nah, this is what I'm talking about. And I said, and they're all looking at me. They go, you're the first one going after him. I said, it doesn't matter. I'm usually the first one in anyway. But you guys are coming in behind, right? And then you see the question mark on her. Well, Sergeant Sherman leaned up against her. He had his T-shirt on and, of course, his camo, spit shine boots, and his DI hat on. And he's looking. He goes, y'all want some of me, man? And as we got closer, I know what he did, but we all just said, the hell with that. I'm not down right now. We got a lot of stuff to do, but it was kind of to see how fast guys got intimidated. And I remember still standing. He goes, what do you want, Elton? I said, I ain't backing down. And his eyes just went like this. And you know how the DIs put you should know, they put their cover down and they laugh.
That's right.
And I'm like, oh, he thinks that's funny over there, huh? I'm like, this is not going to turn out good. He goes, you need to go stand back in line now. So I'm thinking, yeah, I think I should do that. Because I turn around, I'm like, holy shit, nobody's there no more. Everybody's standing on there by their racks. So it was interesting.
Now, what year was that you went in?
1981.
81.
Graduated in March. Yeah, I went in January, graduated in March. I think we had 2 weeks indoctrination. So I think I was there for a total of, I want to say 15 weeks. For some reason, ours, I think the indoctrination, somehow we had an extra 2 weeks somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
But we also had a guy come into our unit. You're so full metal jacket. We had a guy come in there, midterm, recycle, whatever, and an exact identical of that
really
character came in there. Haggerty, Elton, you got Firewatch and your rotation. And I'm like, oh. And this guy's got the eyes like he's got, like, I'm already in the world of shit. And I was like, and I'm like, dude, are you going to go to sleep? And I'm like, okay, we have no live ammo in here that I know of, and everything's locked up on the racks. But by then, I haven't seen Full Metal Jacket then, so I didn't know. And I'm just, right away, I'm starting to process them. He's like, dude, help me out the window. I'm like, dude, there's no way you're fitting out the window as big as you are. And I said, where are you going to go? He goes, I want to get out of here. And now my heart's going, I want to help this guy. There's a reason why he doesn't want to be here. He got recycled. Apparently, there's something wrong. He shouldn't be here. He's going to get hurt or hurt himself. Well, that whole night after my watch, I was up. I did not sleep. I'm thinking this guy's going to wrap somebody up anyway. They finally, I guess, saw the need to get him where he needed to be. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah,
now, once boot camp was over for you, where which direction did you go then?
I went to Camp Geiger for it used to be called ITS, Infantry Training School. I got recycled.
Oh, really?
I I guess I went out in town, came back, and I slept the 1 minute over. And I'm
Right.
not going to mention the guy's names. I don't want to throw him under the bus. But I know he got a shot in the eye from me. Um, he was a Vietnam vet, so I got a lot of respect for him. He was a sergeant, so he was in for a long time. So I get
Mhm.
it. And I get the lesson he was teaching me. But at the time, I wasn't prepared to be woken up like that, growing up the way I did with my stepfather doing that to me. So it was like, alert, man, it's swinging. And he pulled me out of the rack and started. So in that case, so the other sergeant there was there. He goes, "Don't do that to him. That's not fair." And he put something in my jacket, so they recycled me. So no big deal. Another 2 weeks. It was good because I got double the training, double the fun.
There you go.
So it was good for me, and it also helped me enhance my leadership and watch because I knew a little more than the incoming crew, so I was able to
Mhm.
assist them and exert my leadership, which was good. And I remember the sergeant going, "You know what, Haggerty, Elton, whatever it is they call you." He goes, "I don't know about you." He goes, "But from what they told us over here, you got recycled. I'm not seeing that person. I'm seeing a leader." I said, "Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I got a little more knowledge, so I'm going to use that to help our guys because that's what we're supposed to do, pass it down."
Yeah.
So I graduated. Yay, man, happy. And then I went to tow company, 0351, 0352. Had no idea what the hell it was. They go, "Haggerty, you're going to blow up tanks and low flying aircraft." I'm like, "I did that at home, man. I threw rocks at birds and stuff like that. You know, I jumped off of buses on guys' necks, man, when they were bigger than me." Um, so that was a good thing. So of course you had a train tow, which was it's a tube launch wirely guided window projectile, and also you have your law rocket and stuff. But we had a gunner and gunner, so it was the Jeeps back then. So one guy in the back was the air gunner, and the guy was the driver. Hope to God you had a good driver. If you hit a bump, you're gone, man. In the old style Jeeps. So yeah, or it was a 2-man ground mounted unit carrying that traversing unit and all the stuff, man. I'm like, I'm gonna carry this in combat. How am I gonna get out of the way, man? I remember my lawyer asked me not too long. He goes, "What'd you do in the Marine Corps?" I go, "Ran for my life." He goes, "That's funny, man. I like you." I go, "It's pretty much what you do. You're always running, period. Whatever you do, you're running." I said, "If you notice, Marines are always running hand-to-hand comp physical stuff because you're going to endure terrain and conditions that you're not subject to. You're going to eat food that would make a billy goat puke. And if you eat healthy and use the good diet, dude, you better have some Pepto-Bismol and some of that laxative, man, because that stuff is like concrete you're going to pour in. So you're going to get adjusted to a lot of different foods, and your body's going to go through heck. And hopefully you don't have any roommates and lots of air fresheners."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So where was the school? Where did you do that at Lejeune?
Yeah,
Or
Camp Lejeune. Camp Geiger was infantry training school at the
yeah.
time, and then Camp Lejeune was the Second Marine Division, tank battalion, which they I don't know if they still call a swoop circle, where everybody hops on and goes out
Yeah.
of town, goes home, and then your ride don't come, and you got to call, "Hey man, not going to be there. Well, get back here as soon as you can, or you're absent without leave." I'm like, "It's the guy's fault. I gave him money." He said, "What did you learn?" Yeah, I'm not trusting him again, man. Yeah, that's happened quite a few times. Had to get on a bus or take a plane.
Yeah.
And then you find that guy in base in the chow. I'm like, "Dude," he goes, "Oh, I was there." I said, "You know what? I really want to sock you in the mouth right now because you were not there. I was there 4 hours before you got there because I had to get dropped off, you know." But I
Mm-hmm.
said, "But thanks. I'm going to put a big sign on Swoop Circle. If you see this band coming up, don't get in it. It's a Hotel California. You can get in, but you ain't come back." So I tried to keep my sense of humor. Um, so yeah, I had a good bunch of guys in Tank Battalion. I just signed up online for the tow. They got a bunch of guys there, and I was talking to a bunch. And we had this guy, he was killed in action. His name was Mataccioni. Young kid, Italian kid, skinny kid. Everybody picked on him, but everybody loved him. He had this Garfield stuffed animal, and people would like kidnap it on him and hanging from nooses, in barracks. I'm like, "Man, come," and he would get cried because his girlfriend gave it to him. He was a
Yeah.
sensitive, but he was a good kid. So I just recently found out he was killed in action. He was one of the first waves over there in Desert Storm, and I was like, "What? Of all people, why him? Why not that guy?" And I won't mention a per, but we had a guy that worked for us, CID. He was recycled into our platoon. And I went up to him and with my jersey and way of growing up. I said, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like you. I know you're not a Marine. I know you don't belong here. You're way too healthy. You're way too buff and shiny like a bodybuilder. I said, you're not a Marine's Marine. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to tell you right now, keep your distance away from me. I don't care what your mission is, but do not come near me. One thing I don't like is somebody that's going to dare and start ratting on their own kind. I know he's got a job to do. I respect that. Do it, but don't make up stuff. Wouldn't you know it? Guess who went to my tow platoon? I get called down to CID. NIS. I'm sorry, NIS is what it was. Naval Investigation Service. So I stand corrected. They call me there. They go, yeah. I'm not going to give you the guy's name. They go, yeah. I said you sold the cocaine. I go, really? I said, where's it at? Let's taste it, man. I said he came to my locker. I had chromium picolinate, vitamin B15. It's a supplement that at the time would increase your oxygen and stuff. I said he was a bodybuilder. I told the guy down there, I said, listen, I don't deal anything. And I said I wouldn't. I said, but if that's the kind of people you have there, I said, I told that guy from day one I want nothing to do with him because I seen what he was. I understand you guys got the now he's like, you want to work for us? I said, no, I want to take care of my brothers. You do your job, I'll do my job. This is not the kind of job for me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know what happens to people eventually. You can only go so far in a career. But I left it at that. I was still young, but I was still a little cocky, a little bit arrogant, you might say. But that's just me. It's just me. I speak my mind. So anyway, I said, it was a vitamin supplement. I said, I told the guy I don't want nothing to do. And he can say, Haggerty, I know you got some supplements and stuff, and I'm working out. Can you recommend stuff? Because I have a master cert in fitness and nutrition and stuff. I also have a degree in sports psychology. So, like I said, as a kid, I learned all that stuff because I wanted to learn how to work out. So my mom was to take me to get certified. So I gave him the whole bottle of tablets, white tablets. Where they got cocaine from? So I told a guy, I said, did you taste it? Did you test it? I said, did you go get pumped on, man? And I said, unless you have good cause, I'll see you later, man. And I left. Nobody said a word. So now I'm hanging out with a bunch of other guys. These are good stories for people to learn from, to be careful who you choose in there, because I found out that no matter in whatever part of life you're in, there's always going to be somebody that's going to do you bad for whatever reason. I got into a car one day, and they were cruising around, and they were getting high. I had the windows closed. I'm like, man, dude, open them windows, man. You're killing me. Sure enough, next morning, my CEO goes, yep, they want you down at headquarters, man. You better get in your office, man. What? Go take a UA. Of course, nothing came up. They must have thought it was going to come up through the same, but it didn't. So I went back to those guys. I go, that was really nice. I said, I'm going to teach you something, what I learned growing up in the streets. You keep doing what you're doing. You've been here how many years, and you're only a corporal? That tells me something. And I was a Marine. I was always squared away. My lieutenant, every inspection, 4 days passed. I never took those passes. 2 days. I never took them because I always had the cleanest ride. I was always squared away. If I went out in the field and we got muddy, I came back squared away, boot and polish. Like, how do you do it? I said, I my house back, man. Well, what difference how you come back? Well, I said, once you hit that parade deck, all eyes are on you, man. I get it. You guys come back that way, but you're showing your initiative of who you are. It's part of your character trait. That's true. I figured I'd set it better. So I did. A lot of people like, so man, how do you carry them? Here, put them this way, this way. How do you keep them shining? Wrap your blanket around it, or wrap your handkerchief, and fold it like this, I said, at least come back clean, And so I told the lieutenant, I said, I'm not going to take my 4 days, my 2 days, my 72 hours. Where he goes, why? I said, well, here's the deal. I said, I'm not going to leave my men if we go to combat and take leave. I'm not going to leave them doing my job. That's my job. I said, if we all don't get it, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It made a good point to a lot of guys, but it also put a skeptical thought in some of the I don't know what you want to call them, their minds. Oh, is you trying to kiss ass? And I was like, dude, I'm a team player. I'm a team player. You get that? I will be here whether you're right or wrong. I will take it for the team. I am that kind of guy, But if you wrong me, I will deal with you personally in my own way. And that's how I was. And hopefully old school, you box, have a few beers, and it's squash. But I learned you can't do that in the service at times. If you do it out in town. But, you got to be careful because there's a lot of ways you can get in trouble. So I encourage younger people, pay attention to the rules, stay above all the drama. And if you feel you're uncomfortable around, avoid them. Just remain professional. Don't single them out. They're still a part of your team. So I had to learn some lessons like that. And it was kind of heartbreaking because I was like, why do I want to be in this unit if I got to live around people like that? What are they going to do if we go to combat? And I said, no, it'll change. I'm like, I don't know that. And I know it probably does, because when you're over there, you want everybody. All of a sudden, you get a different thing, man. You know, you get a different perspective. But then you get guys that just are that kind of way. So that put my mindset. Here I am back in my home life. I'm in a hateful house with a guy that's violent. I never trusted. I never knew he was going to blow up. How am I going to trust these guys? Now I'm sleeping with my own handgun in my rack in the spa bay. I shouldn't have to. I'm around my Marines. I should feel protective and safe. So I learned a lot of valuable lessons, which I carry over to life. And this is a lot of things that actually, I don't want to say burden me, challenge me in life, because I am what they call extremely highly vigilant, whatever you want to call it. I got 6 bars on my door posted up there, and I got a door there, and I've got ring cameras. I got things over there. I go outside. I got my EDC bag on me. I've got my cable. I got everything. I'm going out. I'm going out. I don't like going outside. I got my service dog. I go outside. I'm prepared. Out here in Austin, there's a lot of stuff. So it's hard for me. And trusting people is really difficult. I stick around a lot of vets. I try to do a lot of things for the veterans. We have some good programs. Like I was telling you, we have the Healing for Horses Ranch, which has the Unbridled Warriors program, not just for veterans, but first responders. And me, I went over there. I was a little skeptical, and I met this horse, Bell. My first day there took me right out of my shell, because horses, they may love, but horses are based on trust. If they don't trust you, you will know it very quickly, man. So Patty Andre, the director, she goes, wow, I really appreciate you being gentle with your horse. And this is a big Arabian horse, a huge horse. And me, I'm like, I'm fearless, but I'm thinking, that thing's like 1,000 pounds. I could kick at that thing. I'm thinking, I never was going to wreck. So I was kind of cautious, but the horses will feel that. So as I learned that, it taught me how to trust. It taught me to be patient, to breathe, and to be able to be in an environment where I was going to be safe and I didn't have to worry what's going on, because I knew that horse would alert to anything. So you learn to read their body language with their ears and their lips when they do things. It's amazing. So now I'm working on my certifications so that I can help other veterans. So that's a good resource if people here in the state of Texas or anywhere. It's Healing for Horses Ranch in Maynard, but the program's called the Unbridled Warriors Program. And it's an awesome program. It's done a lot for me. It's become part of my life. And now I'm able to contribute what I'm learning once I get my cert to help other veterans and people that are going through that, along with my dog training. So
that's awesome. Absolutely awesome that the Unbridled Warriors program. We're going to try to have the individuals on that kind of run that program at some point in time in the future, and then I'll be sure and get the email address, or not email, but website. And then I'll put it on there as well with the podcast. That way, people can see it in the notes.
Yeah, we got a lot of programs. I will do anything for veterans. I've been to retreats. Just the other day, this guy pops. He goes, "Holy Christ, it's you!" And I'm like, "What do you mean it's me?" He goes, "You were at that retreat with me." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, you were the guy in the back that didn't say anything. You just stood up with your service dog and your girl and watched her. You didn't speak the whole time." And he goes, "And all of a sudden you spoke." I go, "Yeah." And everybody goes, "Oh, he talks." And because I listened, absorb, I wanted to see everything. It was a great program because it was helping wives and husbands. It wasn't what I thought it was. I said, I'm not going to, I don't want to hear war stories. I want to learn how we can cope and habitate in the same house. And so it was more based on that, what wives didn't understand and getting to understand how they react. It was a good program. And so it was funny because once I spoke, at the end, everybody's like, "Give me your phone number, man." I got their phone number. Unfortunately, I forgot that I had to change carriers, and for whatever reason, they won't release my number, so I got another one. He goes, "Dude, we've all been trying to get in touch with you." And he goes, "That's it." I said, "Oh, man, that's the old number." And so I gave it to him. I said, "Man, I'm so glad." I said, "God put you in a reason for my thing. So he's getting involved in a horse program because he's still battling. I live in a community where it's all veterans. So I'm able to contribute and help them. We have the thing in the union, the helmets for hard hats, which takes veterans and gives it for the carpenters union. I'll give you the information for him if you want to put that back, because that's all across the country. They can and they can learn a trade and be around people that have the camaraderie and the brotherhood, which is important. And I know that, you know,
very important. Yeah. That's incredible. Well, hey, I think this is a good place to kind of wrap up this podcast here. And we'll do a part 2. Have you back on, and we'll continue talking and moving through the rest of everything and see where it goes from there. Sound good to you?
Awesome, man. Always happy. What I want people most, because I appreciate what you're doing, is that I hope that my contribution or my stories in some way will give somebody a different perspective, or they can pick out something similar to learn how to channel it and overcome it. We'll see. Maybe a book someday.
Yeah,
I prefer to do sit down comedy, because I found that the guys that stand up get hit a lot with watermelons. So I figure if I did sit down and closer to the floor, I got a better chance of avoiding projectiles, man, getting out of there.
I like that. I like that a lot.
AJ, good. You've been great. Thanks for having me, man. I love you, brother, man, and a good Semper Fi. And good luck with your retirement. Pick up the phone if you're confused, because I'm just as confused. We can be confused together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. All right, to all the listeners out there, hey, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, if you're a veteran and you're struggling and you need some help, you can always dial 988 and press option 1. Again, it's 988 and you press option 1. Or you can text. You can text 838-255. Again, that's 838-255, and somebody on the other end is going to put you in contact with somebody that can help you. If you're a younger veteran, you'd like to be able to get online and chat and stuff like that, go to the website. It's veteranscrisisline.net. Get on there. There's a chat icon. All you got to do is click on that. You can type away, and somebody will be there to answer you. So one veteran life lost is one too many. So I just want to make sure that you know that I care, that John cares, and everybody, all the other veterans out there care about you. So make sure that you're getting the help that you need. All right. With that being said, stay motivated, change your socks.